What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're back in the studio. We just came back from Country Fest. Near and dear place to my heart.
We'll be back next year.
We'll be back. Big shout to Steve from Clarity. He cooked us up some shirts in approximately 20 hours from when I had the idea in my head to when I was wearing the T-shirt. You saw it in the episode. You'll see it in the episode. That's the intro. So go ahead, watch that. Go show Steve some love. If you need something, give him more time than 20 hours, but he'll cook it up for you.
If you don't give him more than 20 hours, he can still get it done. That's it.
We're here with Malik Moffett. He's a prep grad like myself, so we'll let Malik introduce himself. If he's going to be humble, we'll make sure to actually let you guys know about him because he's got a pretty long list of accolades.
I'm Malik Moffett. I'm a professional long jumper, and I'm the kid from Erie, PA. So, yeah, I'm glad to be on the podcast.
Oh, God. That was the shortest. Are you kidding me? That's all the more you're going to say?
I graduated from Penn State. I went to Barron for 1 year, broke a couple records, got recruited to be at the main campus, and then went there and broke some more records, actually got them to their first Big Ten title. And now here I am, a couple of months after Big Ten, what is it? Olympic trials. Dang, I can't even get it out.
Yeah. Like you said, just a kid from Erie. That's it. That's the end of the list.
That's it. Just a random kid.
All right, so let's go back to high school. We were looking at some of your high school records. So in high school, you just did track, or did you do any other sports? What?
Played basketball, some track, pretty much just track, basically.
Yeah.
Basketball.
But you kind of knew track.
Like
you knew track was going to be kind of your ticket.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be my way to like a D1 or like at least a good education. I'm like, all right, I don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, so talk about you went to Barron for a year. Did you go to Barron hoping to go to Penn, like to go to main campus, or you were like let's just go here, it's close to home, this is what my ticket is now, and then just go from there?
So the story behind that is, so I got out of prep, obviously, and parents were like, you know what, because I got kind of recruited, so like I was like a preferred, like, hey, we want you at Penn State, Maine, but my parents were like, hey, like I don't think you're mature enough to just be out there by yourself in this big old campus. So I was like, oh, all right, like I just stick around for home. So yeah, I went to Maryland and did my thing there. So
nice.
It was actually pretty fun though. It was nice to stay home, but I still stayed at the dorms though, so it was kind of like I was away.
But. That's cool. So then you go there for a year, and then you decide to go to Maine. Maine's like, yo, dude, you're going way too fast and jumping way too far. You got to come to our school, or what?
Yeah, basically, like I was in contact with the coach like during my season, and ended up being the first All-American that Barron had. So the freshman. So, and then the coach was like, hey, like you're moving up, especially because I don't think a lot of people know this, but I only got recruited for high jump. So I don't even do that event anymore. But like I was supposed to be just a high jumper, but then we realized that like I was kind of fast and like, I could jump too. So then the Penn State was really like, hey, like we really want you. So that's how I ended up there.
What did you do in high school? Because when I was looking, there was only sprints and high jump listed as your result record. I was like, this dude is like a world-class long jumper. And I was like, I don't even see a single long jump result on here.
Yeah, so it's kind of pathetic, but like I was not good at long jumping in high school. I jumped like 22 one time, and I was like, and everyone's like, oh, we'll just leave that alone. Well, high jump is for you. Yeah. I didn't even run, so I was just the anchor on the 4x1. So it wasn't even like I was a runner. I was just literally just high jump. I have the prep record for high jump.
Nice. So, and you were district champ, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. District champ in 4 events.
In 1 year?
Yeah.
Oh, just carry the whole team on your back. Holy.
I was going to say, you have to get him a back brace after that. Like, shit. God, this guy's back, man. Save him.
I think, if I remember the events, it was the 100. Because that was like my 3rd time running the 100. So we did the 100, triple jump, 4x1, and then high jump.
Damn, that's impressive, man.
Do any of them. Yeah, I appreciate it.
That's
Did you end up with any state medals from those or no?
Yeah, but only in the 4x1. Like, I always, like, overdo myself because I literally went there for 3 events because there's another story nobody really knows because in the triple jump, I beat my cousin on my last jump at districts to win that last medal, that last gold medal. And, like, I was like, hey, like, he never been to States. Like, I've already been to States. I'm like, hey, you can have it. I don't even want to do triple jump. So, ended up going for triple jump. And I was pretty happy because I'm like, I get some family there. So,
That is awesome.
so yeah. But then I got smoked. I got smoked at States by one of my like good teammates that was going to Penn State, didn't even know it, in the 100. And like he smoked me and he's like, I'm going to Penn State. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
Did you tell him that story now? Like after the fact?
Oh yeah. There's literally I have a picture of both of us, like we're sitting next to each other and our coach is like, wait, you guys ran against each other? And I was like, yeah, you guys didn't even see me. Because I wasn't even a sprinter at the time. So
That's funny.
like didn't even know how to set up my blocks. That's how bad it was.
So how do you go from not long jumping to becoming the dude at Penn State? Like what's like when do you start jumping and then like someone like they needed what happened? So they needed a jumper or there was someone was just like I think you can be good at it or what pushed you to do it?
It was like my coach. So I was kind of like getting faster in the sprints and like 200 and the 100 and 60. And like it was kind of weird because the way that Penn State has their meet set up, long story short, like the high jump would be right next to the 200. So I would literally run at 200 and then try to jump over like 6'9". And I'm like, coach, this kind of sucks. And like, he's like, well, you got this speed. Like you got, he's like, and you got these jumping abilities. Let's just practice long jump. And I was like, oh, I did a little long jump, you know, like Barron or whatever. He's like, all right, cool. So then like, long story short, he takes me to this like dual meet kind of thing, literally go out. And then I like hit this mark and then everyone was like, I was like seeing everybody's face like, whoa, what did he just do? And I'm like, don't know. Cause I didn't know metrics at the time. So I was just like, oh, like, well, like, is it good? And they're like, yo, you just jumped 25 feet. And then I was like, wait, really? And they're like, yeah, like, you're going to nationals. And I was like, oh, snap, for real, me? And they're like, yeah. So ever since then, it's been like, I'm a long jump kid now.
All right.
I'm a sprinter.
This is something when we were like trying to do a little research. When so 25 feet, people can like kind of comprehend that. We were like trying to think of something that is 25 feet to be like, he jumped this far. Like that is like the same thing as jumping this. Like, do you ever like try to give someone perspective? Like, so this is 25 feet, that's jumping this. Like 2.5 basketball hoops or like something like.
Yeah, I've never done that. I would be interested to see what 25 feet actually kind of looks like. Yeah, I never have like.
Oh, we were trying.
I mean, I've done like jumping over cars and stuff like that, but like nothing like like that. Be like, oh, like there it goes. Like that's 25 feet.
We were trying to look. Yeah. So from the top of the key, from the 3-point line to the hoop is 23 feet. So you jump more than from the 3-point line to under the hoop.
Dang, that's giving. Hey, that's a lot.
That is a lot. We were like trying to look it up. We're like, what would be like a good representation? We're like, I don't know. Everything's smaller than 25 feet. That's like a good representation. This kid just jumps too far. Nothing's a good representation of it.
That is a good representation. I've never even thought about that.
You're gonna use that now, aren't you?
What?
I see. You're gonna use that now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys credit though. I'm gonna give you guys credit. You know, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know, but like this, how far it is.
Yeah, like I felt like for me it was like trying to comprehend that 25 feet. But like when you think about it, if you were to take 2 basketball hoops and put them on the ground and then half of another basketball hoop, that's how far you're jumping. Like that.
Yeah, I was gonna think about it like that, but that's crazy too to even think about that.
That's mad far.
That's not even your best. What did you jump? You jumped 26 something, didn't you?
Yeah, 26.8.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
Oh my god.
I was feeling myself that day. I do remember that. It was in Virginia, so it's good weather.
Okay, another thing. When we were looking at your times and at your jumps, this is not something us distance kids deal with. There's a wind thing that it says next to your times. What is that? We tried to do some research and got a little bit of it, but explain it to people that are listening that aren't runners, because even us as runners had no idea what it meant. If it's above a certain wind speed, things don't matter, or things aren't like legal for records.
Mm-hmm. So technically, that 26.8 doesn't technically count because it was so anything over +2 wind I don't even know how to describe that, but it's like +2. Like
It
it's
said
the wind towards your
meters
back.
per second is what it said online. That like they measure it in meters per second. That's how fast the wind's blowing.
Yeah. So basically, like if it's over 2, it can't count as a record because basically you just use the elements. But if it's like that, like -2, like you had the headwind and you're like kind of fighting against it, so they'll count that. So
Okay.
yeah. I literally was over by a little bit and they counted it. But I think my biggest win when I did the 200, and that was the windiest.
See, we don't get. Imagine if they measured that on preps track, dude. That's all. You're always running into the wind, always.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what like kind of like you want as a sometimes. If it's not a big competition, you're not going for a mark. You're like, all right, let me get a little bit of win. Hope I can just win the competition, because wind favors some people, sometimes it doesn't. So.
That's crazy. Yeah, like we don't get that in cross. They like just go running it. They like deal with it.
Yep.
But like we don't have like for track. I'm surprised we don't get anything like that for track because when we run a 5K, that's 12.5 laps. We have to deal with that wind for 12.5 laps. But I guess when you run a full lap, I guess you get it on both sides, so they're gonna argue it evens out. But yeah, so do they they only do that for shorter distances?
So even like a 400, like they don't get the wind or anything. They just don't.
Because they run a full lap.
They don't even
because it's a full lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd never. They don't do that in high school or any even our meets. I don't notice that, but I don't really pay attention to sprint results. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's like they have some type of technology and stuff, so I don't think they would do it at like a high school level probably. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they have like the flag or something to see if the wind's going. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that was new.
I definitely do know all about cross country and track, or like cross country and stuff, because my dad was a cross country coach. Yeah. So, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no, I'd never noticed that before in results, and I was like, what is this W next to all this stuff? And I was like, looked it up, and it said wind, and I was like, what? And then it said for all of you all like different wind times. Each person had a different wind result, and I was like, I can't imagine trying to measure the wind for every single jump.
Yeah, it's actually like they have to have someone like in the middle of the track actually like pressing the button for the win. It's like it really takes another official to do it. So
it's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
Yeah, those D1 athletes are serious over there.
Oh
they take it serious, man. Out here in D2, they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, they're like, as long as you cross the finish line, we're good.
Whoever finishes first, whatever.
You can cut through the infield if you want.
Yeah, just finish. Cross the line. That's it.
What? Oh boy. So what are you up to nowadays? You did the Olympic trials. Talk about that.
Olympic trials was definitely an experience in itself. Like it was like actually I've been to professional meets before, but this one was like, oh, this is like the Super Bowl of all. Like you've seen like the Nike athletes, you've seen like which I usually see, but it was like everyone in one. You can see like Nike reps, Adidas reps, Puma reps, like all those people. Like it was like different from like even like having like this water bottle out. Like they would rip the tag off. It was like you can't have any like Nike signs on me. They were like covering on my book bag. Like
because you weren't a sponsored athlete.
Huh?
Because you weren't a sponsored athlete.
No, even if you are sponsored, it's like the Olympic Committee. They don't want any like one brand to like take over. So it's just like if it's small, you're good. But if it's like, oh, this is a Nike sign, like they're like, nah, you gotta take that down.
How did Bowerman get away with that? Weren't their jerseys big Nike logos the whole way through? Weren't those?
Wait, who was
Bowerman? Weren't their
Nike
racing tops Nike's Distance Club? Weren't their jerseys big Nike swooshes? I'm pretty sure they were.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I didn't even see those.
I think they might have got away with it because they weren't like stitched on. They were just like kind of like people could have thought they were designs, but Nike was running it. They're smart.
Because you even had to like show them your jersey before you even raced. Like you had to bring it to them so they could check it. So maybe if Nike paid, a little bit of extra money and was like, hey, I got these new jerseys, trying to show them off.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find them.
Yeah. That's crazy. While he's looking for that, talk a little bit about like obviously you're an extremely high caliber athlete, but talk about some of these guys you're competing against and like how good they actually are. Because like Alex was always, he saw something we were talking about with some of our other buddies. He was like, I think in the trials, that they should just have like an average person racing every single event so you can see like how good these guys actually are. So like just talk about that a little bit.
These dudes are amazing. Like you got it? Oh.
So they were like, this is Shikari, but they're like lightning bolts. They're not Nike swooshes. When I saw them at first, I thought they were. See, they got away with it.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't think they wouldn't even let that, because like even that Nike times to be like this small. But back to what I was saying, like these people, like they, like obviously I'm a professional athlete, but they're like professional. Like obviously there's tiers, whatever, but like all they do is eat, sleep, and track. Like they get paid like their 100K salaries, and like they're just a different breed. They have like the Olympic Training Center, and they're just like good. Like me going out there, I'm like trying like my hardest, which like they probably are too, but like theirs are just like, oh, I'm jumping like 28 feet, like, and no one's gonna say anything about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, and like they can do like multiple events and all this stuff, and like they're just like, I don't know, it's just like, you really can't even compare. You're just like, whoa, like they really can jump, and like they're really fast.
So when you see that, are you like, damn, I want to be like that, I can get to that? Or it's like these people are just another level, like they're just born different? Like what's the view on those, like people like that?
My thing is, like, I feel like they're not even on level. I feel like I can get to that level. Like, I feel like I have jumped against them and beat most of them. So, like, it's just, you got to be on that day. And, like, I definitely, obviously, I haven't jumped 27. So, when they start jumping, like, the 27 highs and stuff, that's when I'm like, oh, okay. Like, they're kind of different. But most of the time, like, even in the results, like, they were only jumping, like, 26s, some of them, like, 25s. And I was like, I can do that, but it's just not my day. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. They just, listen, they got the skills, and like most of the people come from Florida, so like I'm the only Penn State person there, only Cathedral Prep person, only person from Pennsylvania. Yeah. So like me trying to get the crowd into it, they're like, oh, like I don't even know this kid. But like if a Florida guy gets there, he's like, oh, like, and everyone's like, yeah, Florida, and they're like clapping them on and stuff like that. So it's more of like a recognition. Like I envy their recognition, but like eventually I'll get there. But it's just gonna take a lot more dedication from me, because even when I went to like nationals for Penn State, they're like, how many times people be like, wait, Penn State has runners and jumpers? Because it's a distance school, so like they're 800 school, so like they're just, I'm like, it's just me though, but yeah.
Gotta represent.
Yeah, always represent.
So what's a day in the life of you look like right now training? And I know you got right off practice and hopped on with us. What are you up to now with your time? How are you spending your time?
So basically, I work for this company too. I work for Acosta. I do like merchandising. Get up at 4:00 in the morning every morning. Do that, and then literally right after that, go to the track or to the gym or to both, and then like get food in between and stuff like that. And then after that, my day's pretty much over. Like I got here, I talked to you guys at like 6 or something like that my time. Mm-hmm. So I just got home, especially with the busy Houston traffic, so it took me forever to get here. And basically that's it. And then come home, watch some anime, and watch some Sports Center. So
training, are you like, is it you with a trainer, or are there other like long jumpers at like a club or a gym that you're at, or what's that look like for you?
So I have like a couple of athletes that are training with me. We have a professional coach, which I just got to a professional coach. That's why I'm in Houston, to learn like kind of the rope. 'Cause I'm still learning about this professional sport and like how it works and how money gets thrown around and stuff. So, but I have like I have a couple girls in my group. They're jumpers. I have a sprinter, sprinters in my group, and a high jumper. So
nice.
Yeah.
What they're just like the same level. They were like college athletes that are trying to go pro, or okay.
Yeah.
So I guess like what's the, like, I don't know, like how do you get from just being a college athlete to being like one of the Olympians? Like, I guess.
I see what you're saying.
Like obviously like
it's basically
a transition, but like
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you You got to figure it out.
Oh, yeah, I got to figure it out. So basically, it's just like consistency. Basically, that's what like separates like, oh, that guy's like, okay, he's pretty good. Like he jumped that one time, but like if you're consistently jumping like those, like or running like say like you guys probably know Isaiah Harris, 800 for Nike. He went for Penn State.
Okay.
So like basically like I'm trying to put in like a distance kind of term. So like he runs like 140, like 144, but he can consistently do that. Like if like those jumpers that were at Olympic trials, they consistently jump like 26, 27. So it's basically just like if you can keep on doing that and you get your world ranking up, then you get to go overseas like to Europe and like which they treat us like NBA stars over there. They love track and field. And you get your agent and he kind of vouches for you and he handles your money and stuff. So shout out to my agent, if he's going to be watching. So
how do you get companies, or like how are you like promoting yourself as an athlete? How do you what do you bring to the table for companies that are maybe watching this or that would be interested in getting a track athlete? What does Malik bring to the table for that?
Man, what I bring great personality, a pretty face. I'm well, into the community and stuff like that. I haven't done anything bad or anything. So, hey, listen, I'm a clean kid, like, just kind of living life. I'm able to go to any brand. If Skechers came up to me and was like, hey, what's up? I'm going to be wearing the shape ups until the day I die. So, like I would throw all my Jordans away. So it's just like it's just being marketable and like seeing like a presence on social media, and like when you go to like meets, it like pays to talk to like the officials, like because they're kind of like they get paid, but obviously they're not getting paid like a 6-figure salary to be there in the hot all day. Mm-hmm. So after that, just like talk to them, like just talk to other even like athletes too. Like, hey, like, who are you sponsored by? Like, oh, cool. Like, I'm going to get my agent to talk to you or blah, blah. So, and the agent plays a big part in that. So if you have an agent that's well known, then, like, they will hook you up and get you some sponsors and stuff like that. So.
That's cool. So Did you get the gym and then you got an agent, or you got an agent and he found your gym, or how did that work?
So it was, like, out of college, like, I was looking at a couple agents. I had a couple agents looking at me, and this one agent was like, he has to jump. It was like kind of weird. He's like, he has to jump like 8 meters at this meet, which is like 26 feet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang, I don't know if I'm ready. I ended up jumping like 25, like 10. He's like, I can't do anything with them. And I was like, what? So then like after that, that's when I jumped at 26.8. And he's like, hey, but I already signed to another agent. So I signed to that agent, my agent Lamont, and basically, he was the one that like got me down to Houston. He's the one that gets me into my meets. He handles my money, my plane tickets, all that stuff, hotels. So,
he's just a sports agent, or does he like specialize in track people, or how does that work?
Yeah, he specializes. He's technically 8. He really can do anything, I believe, but he definitely does like track because he used to be a track athlete too.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Bro, I think we need to get an agent.
It was kind of nice to have an agent.
Dude, we do need an agent.
That agent life sounds kind of good. I'm not going to lie. We need to get one.
You should be an agent. You'd be a good agent.
I'm telling you, they make a lot of money. He gets a cut every time I win.
So what is that like for as a professional? That's probably a cool thing you start to get now once you get to that higher level.
Oh yeah, like I love it, like because my first couple of meets I went to, like I would just talk about my first meet. It was at USA. It was my first ever USA meet. I was like top 3, and as soon as I showed up, they handed me $1,000 for like a parent's money, and I was like, wait, what? And they're like, here's your check, like for just showing up. I'm like, I get a check for showing
You're
up.
Like, dude, I'll be here like, every day of the week.
Like I was like looking at it, I'm like, are you sure? Like I'm like, my parents like, just take the money. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
You're like, this isn't real.
Yeah. So then like I got second, so they gave me like, it was in New York. It was like $5,000. Like every time you go out, it's a good lump sum of money.
That's cool.
So when you go, but then you got the taxes. That's why I'm learning about this professional sport. Like even with NFL basketball, as soon as they earn that money in that state, that state has to take the taxes out. Then your agent gets a cut. Then you got to take out the travel fees and all that stuff. So it's like you get money, but then it
that
dwindles.
that money is to pay for all the training and everything else. It's just try to probably break even, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you do make just a decent amount sometimes, especially if you get first place. Like you're like, oh, okay, I got a couple of. You put in your savings and stuff, so you know that you got some. So
yeah, makes it worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Shaq got his $1 million signing bonus.
He spent every single penny,
and
then he forgot about taxes.
Right, he didn't realize that like he wasn't getting a straight million, and he was like at the Mercedes-Benz dealership like buying cars and shit for like his parents, and they were like, "Yo, like." You're like you owe us money now.
Yeah.
Like you're in debt. You don't have money anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit.
No, he thought he was getting like a legitimate $1 million. Didn't understand taxes or like all the like you just said all the other expenses that he has.
Yeah.
And he literally spent like $1 million, like every single penny of that before taxes. And then he was like, oh wait, there's way more money to spend. It was right after he got his rookie contract. Like John said,
that's actually crazy.
He tells the story like as an older guy, and it's just like, look at how big of an idiot I was, and like obviously this is a lesson people need to learn.
Well, like he spent it like all within a day.
Yeah, it was like instantly.
It was like within like one day, like he went to the Mercedes-Benz dealership, like bought him and his dad a car, and then they got home, and his mom's like, "Where's my car?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's go." Bought her a car, and then his agent's calling him. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm spending like my $1 million." He was like, "Bro, you don't have $1 million. Like, like you got like 600,000, and it's all gone." And he's like, "Oh shit."
Yo, that's hilarious. Yeah, unfortunately, didn't have that kind of spending power. I did kind of splurge out when I did get my money. Cause I'm like, it's like free money, and it's hard to like, especially if you are still working. Like, I still had like a little side job, whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I do get a paycheck too. So literally was shopping in New York City, but then obviously New York City is pretty expensive. So
what'd you buy?
It didn't last too long.
You don't have to say if you don't want.
No, I'm gonna say it, but I'm like so stupid because I'm like, why did I even do that? I bought like a whole bunch of like iPhone stuff because I was in the Apple store. Cause that was
like the main Apple store. Like the big glass
like
one?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I went and bought it was when the 10 came out, so I got like a nice Apple's charging case. Like I'm like, oh, I'm going to be traveling now. Like I bought like so many video games. I bought a Burberry shirt because I'm like, oh, this is like my professional money. Like I look professional. So I bought this $270 shirt, and I was like, why did I even do that? So like, not as big as Shaq, but just kind of splurged. But then I was like, all right, well.
I can just hear your dad telling you you're an idiot for buying this stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, he wasn't there with me. Of course he wasn't there.
Yeah, no, but I can just hear him like finding out and just being like, I can just hear his voice from school, just like being like, oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's a stickler with his money, so like he's very like, you need to save, and I'm like, I mean, this is free money.
You're like, Dad, look how cool this shirt is though.
I was like, how many times can you jump in the sand and make $5,000? Like, no one can say that.
There you go. I definitely couldn't do that. Oh my God. But if they paid me to show up, I'd be there. Regardless how good I got.
Listen.
I'm there, man. Like all those cold, rainy practices, if they're paying me to show up, I'm there. I'm in it.
Exactly. Hey, you got to.
So now that we're talking about money, how do you feel about the name, image, likeness stuff that's coming out? You kind of wish you would have been there?
I wish I would have been there. So, listen, the amount of times I've been at a restaurant and someone's like, hey, are you a Penn State athlete? Like, let me pay for your meal. And I'm just like, I can't. This could be a setup. I can't do it. Like, you can't do anything. Dude. You can't have anyone pay for, like, a meal. You can't have, like, but now it's all changing. Even, like, as far as, like, a GoFundMe. If I was on a team, no GoFundMe. Like, I could lose my house and they could be like, well, you can't own that GoFundMe. So that's kind of like, dang, and in a way, because, like, I feel like I could have probably made a little bit of money in school.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that the rules changed because the NCAA was definitely just getting kids for their money.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got you a scholarship. And they're like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and, like, what a lot of other people don't realize, and this is something more for us or just, like, anyone that has a sort of persona, like, there were certain things we couldn't even talk about. Like, we couldn't say, oh, I like Nike clothes, I like Jordans, I like whatever, because that we could have been set up to say that. And so like we were censoring the things we could even talk about. Like there were certain like we wouldn't even go anywhere close to mentoring brand names because we didn't want to even like come close and have to deal with compliance about stuff like that. And like one of my buddies,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like that's the thing, and people are like, oh, it's all about kids like getting a paycheck, like all this stuff. Like it's way bigger of an issue. Like there are a lot of things people couldn't do that didn't even involve making money because they could have been like, I don't know. It just the NCAA didn't want to have any like gray area. They just wanted to be like, okay, just stay away from this so that it's not an iffy situation. And like
exactly.
One of my buddies who he went to prep, Tyler Odekoven, I don't think he wasn't there when you were there. He was only there for a couple of years. He plays at University of Albany football. He was on Sports Center top 10 a couple times for some crazy catches.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
But he got his podcast shut down because he was talking about how he wishes there was a Chick-fil-A closer to campus, and they were like, "That's talking about a brand, like that's not allowed." Yeah, so the NCAA he shut his whole entire YouTube channel down, like took every video, like he didn't take them down, but he like hid them so people couldn't watch them, and like he was like in like some sort of like discussion with his compliance officer and had all this like stuff going on, and we were just like, oh god. We were like, because like all the things that he was getting in trouble for, we were like, dude, we've like not even knowing or thinking about it, we've definitely gone into that gray area, and we're like, we did not want that issue coming this way. And I'm really glad he got everything figured out and he was good, and now it's not even an issue people have to worry about as much. But it would like there's so many little things that a lot of people didn't realize would come out of this rule that are actually big time like changes that'll help people out in the long run.
Yeah, they definitely help out. Especially even like kids that don't make a lot of money or like aren't on scholarship. Like they can have a donor that's not the school and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
I'm curious to see like even if cause now that you say that, because schools are sponsored by like brands. So what if I'm a kid and like Adidas is like, hey, like we like you, but like Penn State sponsored by, because we've been to like being a Penn State athlete, like we went to like the Nike or the actual Nike company in Portland. So like I got to see like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant's like parking spots, like all like Tiger Woods and like all the Jordan shoes and stuff. So like, but like our coach stressed, like he was like, I will not let you off this bus if you have any other apparel that's not Nike on. And I was like, what? And he was like, I promise you'll be sitting on this bus. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's just like what if I was like an Adidas athlete, like they sponsor me, like how does that work?
Yeah, so this was one thing that I have, like they were kind of loose about what their rules were going to be. They didn't really know exactly what was going to go on for a lot of things, but this was one thing the NCAA saw coming and was like, all right, we need to issue a statement about this now. And so you can't wear conflicting brand, like so I think I can, this is my interpretation of it. Not that you're be in trouble with the NCAA anymore, but so like I could be, so our school, we have for Gannon we have Nike running, we have Nike jerseys and everything. I can be an Adidas athlete or whatever brand, Brooks, whatever running company, whatever brand I want to be, I can be that, but I cannot like interfere with I couldn't wear it on race day over top of like my Gannon stuff. So like when you're on a school trip and you're like, you need to wear your school issued whatever your school stuff is. When I'm out posting on Instagram or when I'm walking through the mall or whatever, whenever you're like trying to promote your brand, I think you can do whatever, but you can't like interfere with what you already have what your school already has going on. That's kind of what I've understood it as. So they have kind of come out against that.
That makes a lot of sense because I was like, that would be very conflicting. I'm like, Coach, I got my own jersey. They sent me one. Like, what?
Well, I just thought it was so funny when his buddy's podcast got shut down and he sent us like a whole like list that like compliance sent him of like all the stuff you can't do, and me and him were like looking through it. We're like, yep, we did that.
It was like
did
a checklist.
Checklist. We checked everything off and we were like, well, I hope the NCAA doesn't come for us because we're like on the chopping block next. But
dude, seriously,
now we can do whatever.
We were sitting at dinner and everyone's like talking, and I'm just at the end of the table with my phone in my hand like this, and my head down like this. And I'm reading, and everyone's like, "Dude, what's wrong?" I literally didn't say anything for like 5 minutes. I'm still reading, and I'm just like, oh my god. And they're like, what's wrong? I was like, we're so in trouble. I was like, we have broken, like, not, like they, like I said, they weren't like the actual rules. They were just like the gray area of like, try to stay away from this because like it could lead to issues. And I was just like, oh my god. I was like, we have found a way to somehow cross every single thing off this list. I was like, we're so lucky we're like D2 and no one is like, we're not under a microscope. Like if we were a big time football player, we would have probably been in prison.
And done, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd have been kicked off the team in an instant. But they're like, it's because like we weren't under that big microscope and we weren't that big of a deal and they knew no one was even going to try to throw us money because it didn't matter. But I was just like, holy shit. I was like, we could have been in so much trouble for this. It was a night.
It's just a slippery slope too. You never know because like it could be that one person on your team that's like, yo, they're doing too good. Like I know they got that podcast. Let me go tell someone about it.
Yeah.
So it just like always be like secretive. Like even that lady giving me, she's like, hey, can I pay for your meal? I'm like, nah, nope. Nope. I was like, I'm not forfeiting my season because like so Mo and Joe are over there in the table like, is that Malik and that lady's paying for his meal? And I was like, so. It's good to see that.
I've never even heard of that being an issue or being a thing. Like I'd never even known it was that like hardcore.
There are some rules. Like they literally every year they sit us down and it's like us football, basketball, volleyball, tennis, like, and they go over the rules. What you can't. You would be surprised the rules that they have. Like if like Saquon, because obviously I went to school with Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
Like say if like obviously he signs a lot of autographs. Like, if he was at Penn State, he can only sign, like, so if you came up to him with, like, a shirt and shoes, he can only sign one object for each person. Like, if they see him signing, like, both shoes, like, he could be cut off the team. Like, it's like that. It's just little stuff like that. Or, like, say, like I said, if someone, like, you're out at TGF Fridays and someone's like, hey, like, I noticed you, like, hey, like, you know, you did good at that meet or whatever. Like, hey, can I pay for your meal? And, like, it's gone. You're done with that. It's just the littlest things. Like anyone giving you a gift, like even if it's just like, hey, here's a T-shirt for you, you're gone. It's just like, it's just ridiculous rules.
We have that issue. So obviously you know about winning prize money for what races and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they have the same thing for like some local 5Ks will give money. Well, there's a certain amount, and I don't know what it is. Our compliance guy was like, I don't know, like basically only take the amount it was to enter the race. Anything more than that is like, you don't make money on the race. Like you can you can be like, hey, like I'll take whatever. Like if the race is $20, and that's why you're like allowed to take a T-shirt sometimes if you win the race because like they say like it's about the same amount. But like they're like, don't take prize money because that obviously that's another thing. Even though you earned that like through your own like there's no like opinion that's you earning it. That's another thing you couldn't touch on.
I thought at one point they like had it where they could save it for you, but then I don't even think that was a thing because they're just like, we'll just like keep the money, you know?
Damn. Yeah, no, I haven't heard that.
Friends at go ahead.
I said I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, so I had a friend that he was a javelin thrower, and we were like juniors when we went to USA's outdoor, and he got third, so he got like $5,000, but he was still technically on Penn State's team. So I'm like, dude, you had to forfeit $5,000 just because you're going to school? I was like, I don't know, man.
Dude, I can't imagine
I'll tell him.
I can't imagine being a college kid and being like, yeah, I can't take $5,000 that I just earned, like legitimately. That's tough. So, all right. So if you were in college, what would you, and you had this rule change, what brand would you want sponsored by?
Whew, man, what brand?
Like actually that you could actually get. Like don't be like, oh, I want my own pair of Jordans or like something too crazy.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going with this brand I kind of know give a lot more money, and probably like if you're not the top athlete, like obviously Nike's not going to give you that much, but like a Puma, like I said, like a Skechers, something like you want one of those like low like profile, not a lot of athletes want to go because they're like, oh, thank you for being on the brand. Here's a lump sum of money for like going. You're like, yes, but like everyone wants to be on Nike. Yeah. So, and they're just like, oh, here's 10K, and everybody's like, yeah, like I'm a Nike athlete, but it's just so probably, I don't know. I love Nike. I do love Nike, but I probably say like Adidas. I like Adidas, and I like the way that their management is with their team. So. I would definitely probably be an Adidas athlete. Sorry, Nike and all my Nike stuff. But
for me, like if it were like the bigger running companies, it would definitely be Reebok because my two favorite runners run for Reebok and their stuff is nice.
Okay.
I like Reebok stuff a lot.
Dude, I'm definitely going with New Balance.
You do. He does love New Balance.
I love New Balance, man. New Balance has some great stuff.
Those are really good companies.
Yeah.
Hit him up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send a DM to
Listen,
New Balance.
Hey, dude, our big thing is just press send. What are they gonna do? They're either gonna worst thing they do, they leave you on open and delete it. Tell you no. Okay, next. I'll send it. Say you got it. All these other competing companies will send them a DM too. Someone's got to respond.
Someone does have to respond, and I know some athletes that run for those companies. So, but they just drop people so these companies drop people so quick in the track world. You just have no idea. Even like some of the long jumpers I was out there, I'm like, why aren't they wearing Nike? They were definitely with Nike like 2 years ago. They just if like you're not running or you're not making the money, you are gone. Those Nike contracts are pretty vicious.
And it's so like it's not easy, but like it's so easy to have a bad day and then just be like, all right, you suck, get out of here. Like the wind, even like the weather sucks. Like something's just like not right, and you just don't have a good day. And now they're like, all right, you're garbage. Yeah. Like obviously you haven't been working. When like obviously you've been working so hard, but like you just didn't have your time to shine, and they don't care.
And listen, I've seen some athletes like it was before I even became like my professional. I was like jumping at LSU, and this dude was jumping for Puma, and like you could see this man like he was stressing. Like, I need a good jump. I really need a good jump. And I'm like, geez, that's what it's like to be a professional? I thought it was just kind of like glitz and glamour. Like, and he was stressing. He ended up getting the jump. So I was like, I'm kind of happy for you. Look, you were really stressing. But it's definitely like that. Like, not naming names, but like Nike contracts, they do get pretty crazy. Like, if you're not like top 3 or like top 5 or top 10, your money goes down by like at least like 30,000. Like, it's a lot of money that they'll take away from you.
It also sucks that like
it's crazy.
In the running world, it's so hard to like market yourself and get people excited about track and like jumping, opposed to like other sports like football. You can kind of like build a fan base around you because you're playing football, but like track, it's like hard to get people to like come out and hard to market yourself. So that's why I think those contracts are so like you can become so irrelevant so fast, and that's why like the contracts are just like bad day, get him out. He's no longer interesting, get him out.
Yeah. And this is the fact that everyone runs track. So there's always that new talent and like, oh, you're not jumping well anymore? Hey, that kid that's coming out of like, what's the name? He's jumping pretty good. I might as well just give him your contract or like throwers or distance. It just,
Well, I think there's a lot of problems when it comes to that. Like, there's so many meets too, and they're not like the big time. Like, there's not like there's nothing that makes them big time, I guess. Like, no one's like watching them. So like, you just jump and it just happens. Like people aren't looking at the results or like the results. There's so much to like consume. You can't actually like look at it. That's another problem. And the big thing is, I think, is like, it's not like another sport like the NFL or like MLB where like there's like someone who's just crushing, hitting all these home runs and doing crazy stuff. Like everyone's kind of like, they're good. They're all like kind of in this window of like good. There's no like crazy standout breakout athlete. Like there might be one here or there, but like you can't really build a name if like you're just kind of in the field and like everyone's just there. Like no one's like really popping off. Yeah. Like I feel like any of the runners that like I follow, the only reason I know them is because they went and won like a big race, and I was like, oh, like they like post the results and they posted like a finish line picture. I'm like, oh, who's that dude? Like, oh, he runs for Reebok. That's cool. Like I found him and I started following him. Like now I know about them. Like, oh, they're cool. But like, how many runners are out there that like you have no idea? You don't know. They just don't exist. I would say the only person that for distance that has a fan base would be Greg Engels.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know who that is?
Yo. Of course, I party with my man.
Yo, he's crazy.
Of course, man. In Oregon, come on now. We always see them. All I hang out with is like distance kids. Distance kids and throwers are the best people on track teams. They are the best.
Yeah,
I always have a good time.
I felt like whenever I was running track in high school a lot, I felt like the distance guys are always hanging out with the throwers. Like for some reason, like the throwers and the distance guys are always like super tight. Dude, there's a picture I'll have to flash up on the screen. It's me standing next to the biggest like thrower on our team. The kid was like 6'8", like almost 300 pounds. I'm like 5'8", like 125 in this picture, and dude, I just look like an absolute twig in this. It was so funny. But yeah, no, the thrower guys are always the best, man. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They are.
Listen, like the distance kids have the good conversation and the wacky stories and the adventures, and then the throwers, they know how to have a good time and they know how to eat. So I'm down with all of them.
So then when you bring it together, it's just mayhem.
Oh yeah, it's definitely mayhem. It's good mayhem, but it's mayhem.
Oh boy.
It always
Don't
does.
get the sprinters involved, and it's really mayhem.
It always seems like the distance kids just have the most wild stories. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the amount of time you're out running. Yeah. It's just like the weirdest like shit will happen to you.
We got asked that this weekend. Yeah. This lady said, "What's the craziest thing you've ever seen on a run?" John, what was your answer? We
were running down State Street, and kid, he was a freshman at
this. He shakes his head. He's like, "All right, that's enough. That's enough."
I was like, no.
Our teammate, he was a freshman, and there were these drag queens like standing outside like the Starbucks on like 5th Street. And we ran by, and the one just slapped his ass. And we're all like, yo. It was crazy. It was funny, though.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was.
I can't even imagine.
Those runs do get kind of wild, especially when you go east, man. Like, those runs get, there's some strange people out there.
There is.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, there is definitely some. Yeah, I can't even. The Frontier is a little better. You know, you get mostly some runners. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, running on like the city and like all that, you will get some suspect people.
Yeah, like that's why whenever I go for runs in Erie and I'm by myself, you'll never catch me going east. Never. I'm always going west. I swear. But like, when I'm running with him, I'll go east because I know like this dude wrestled, and I'm like, this dude, I'm invincible when I'm with him. Like, I'll just talk my shit. It doesn't matter because he's fighting the person, whoever it is, and I'll kick him when they're down.
Moves.
Yeah. Oh, he knows what's going on.
So you're a wrestler turning distance?
Yeah. So I wrestled and ran cross in high school, and I was in the same situation you were for wrestling. I had these some pretty good schools that were like, "Hey, you're good. Why don't you come to our school?" And I was like, "Hey, why don't you give me some money?" And they were like, "Oh, I mean, you can be on the team. Isn't that cool?" And I'm like, no, not for like $50,000 a year."
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Did what you did, stayed local, and I'm going to want to be a doctor. I want to go to med school, so I'm gonna have to drop a bag for that. So I'm like, we'll go for a cheap undergrad, and so we're here. We're grinding away here.
And you're gonna make money regardless, and if you're going med,
that's the plan.
You'll be good.
What's the future plan for you? I always ask people, where do you see yourself in a year? Where do you want to be in a year?
Ooh, a year, definitely. Especially since I got this new coach, I'm in a new environment. I'm not dealing with the elements anymore because I hated the snow. But definitely see myself at like a world championship, or like a world meet. Like people don't even notice I was supposed to be at a world meet. It was literally right before COVID. I was getting the drug test. I was getting my passport, like trying to get fitted for like the uniform and stuff. And then they're like, "Hey, like the meet in Tokyo, something's happening like 300 miles away from like, there's like an outbreak of something. So we're not going." And that was the first time I heard of Corona. Like, I was like, "Oh, that's weird." I'm like, "Oh, it'll pass." And then here we are, locked down and everything later. So I literally missed out on my opportunity. And you know, with track, like, you're only as good as your last. So like literally everyone forgot about that. And then I'm like starting from base one again. So hopefully, to answer your question, I'm gonna hopefully be on this world team coming up this next year. Nice. It's gonna be in Oregon again. So it's gonna be revisiting that track. So
how beautiful is that facility?
Listen, I thought it was beautiful before they upgraded it, but when I was literally trying to stay focused the whole time they were trying to walk us through. I'm like, so you're just gonna walk us through one time to see all this new stuff and me not freak out about it? Like it was amazing. I can't even explain to you. Like, there's TVs everywhere, water fountains everywhere. Like, inside they have like their own like weight room / like runways. Like, even the way that the people walk their runways, like, it's crazy.
So, I guess talking back to Hayward Field, you talked a little bit about that experience, but like what was the like Olympic trials experience like? Like I know you kind of talked about the athletes there. What was that experience like? Like you got the retro T-shirt that was super cool. Like I read the paper you posted on your story that was super dope. What else did you get anything else cool?
They gave us actually a hunk of wood. Actually, I have it right here.
Grab it.
Real quick.
Yeah,
Let me grab it real quick. Real quick. All right. So they gave us like this. I don't know if it's real or not, but it got the authentication. But it's like Hayward Field. It was like what they had there.
Those are the bleachers?
Like what's remaining. It was of the old track. It's like of the stands and stuff. So I got that. I got a Nike T-shirt and kind of just like memory, just like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Like I'm actually probably one of those besides like the NCAAs. Like I'm the first Olympic trials at this new facility that they paid buku dollars for.
Yeah.
And it shows. It definitely showed they did. And the security on it was like, that's what was crazy. The security was I've never seen security like this. There's security 24/7 on this place. Like, even for me to get back into the event, they won't even let me back in. They're like, "Do you have a ticket?" I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, I just competed." They're like, "Hey, man, we can't let you back in." I was like, "Wow." So,
what was
other than that, it was a good experience.
What was that big tower?
Like it's supposed to represent like I don't even know what is it called. What the torch when they
the
like
Olympic torch?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically it's like their like Olympic torch that like looks over Hayward Field or something like that. Yeah,
that's cool. So for the people,
which was huge.
Yeah, for the people at home that have no idea what we're talking about right now, we're talking about Oregon's track. I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's a complex.
Yeah, it's a compound now.
Crazy.
Compound, exactly.
They redid it. Nike. It's where Nike's headquarters is. They threw a ton of money at it, and the University of Oregon. But for anyone that's watched the movie, what's Pre's movie? Is it just called Pre?
Pre.
Yeah.
I think that's what the movie's called.
Or not Sprinter, but
Distance Guy.
Distance.
Yeah, so he ran at Oregon, and if you watch that movie, like a lot of it takes place at Hayward Field, which is this, like I said, this legendary venue in Oregon, and then they redid it, and now it's like state of the art. It literally looks like
amazing. The best stadium.
Yeah, you would think it's like an NFL stadium. Looking at it from the outside, it's everywhere. Nuts.
And actually, when I was there, they had it was actually ridiculous. They had a heat wave, and it reached like record temperatures. So it was like literally, I've seen so many athletes pass out there. It was just so hot, like it was bad. It was like 104 degrees. It was horrible. Just heat.
Do you have any track athletes you get starstruck by? You like meet them and you're like, holy shit! You're like, this is the person's real. This is the real deal. Like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm meeting you. Do you have anyone like that?
Like Allison Felix. When I first met her, like I was like, huh? And like literally, my coach had to like, yo, get your head in the game. We gotta. And I was like, huh? Yeah. But I was like, yo, that's crazy. I like watched you when I was like little, and I was like, I've never thought I would even like be able to see. Like I saw like Tyson Gay, Justin Gatlin, but I see them all the time now. But it's just like those kind of guys that like you're just like, yo, I used to see you on like the Olympics in 2008 when I wasn't even thinking about like going to the Olympics, and now I'm like here looking at you and like you're about to kill it. Yeah. I'm happy I'm here and I'm on the track with you.
That's super cool. So,
just a little subtle flex. You see Justin Gatlin all the time.
He's like, oh, we bump into each other.
Yeah, we're good pals now.
We're coworkers.
That's funny.
And whatnot,
And so for the people at home who don't know who Justin Gatlin is, he pretty much was a dude competing with Usain Bolt in the Olympics in like the 100 and 200. So he's an absolute dog, and now Malik's out here just chilling with him regularly. No biggie.
Just kicking it.
He's a dog. He's definitely a dog. I can't say too many people, like, what is it, over 35 can beat me in a race, but that man would definitely smoke me. So.
That's crazy. Hey, but honestly, you have a good 200 time yourself, too.
Oh, yeah.
A little sub 20?
Yeah, it's sub 20. Definitely will win dated like crap. It was 5.5 point something win, and that's actually what sealed the Big Ten title for us. Like I remember, I will never forget that. Like I was walking out into the track, and like my head coach, literally he talks to me, but not too much. But literally he pulled me to the side and was like, "Listen, I know you never beat this Ohio State kid, but like I need you to beat this Ohio State kid." And I was like, "Don't tell me that as I'm walking out." Like I was like, "That's horrible." And literally like caught him at like the last second because he actually ran 19 too. So we were just both kind of like moving. Damn. And ended up beating him. So and then the day before that, long jump.
When you finished that 200-meter race and the cops pulled you over for speeding, what was that ticket like? How much you have to pay? Because you were literally speeding.
Listen. They definitely had somebody next to me 24/7 and make sure I took that piss test. So they literally did not leave my side. So I like got to celebrate, but that person was like literally right here on my hip. like, and I was like super thirsty too. I'm like, I need water. They're like, no, you can't drink too much because you're gonna dilate. And I was like, I'm dying. I'm literally dying. But I kind of let them stay because I was like super excited. I'm like, yo, this is security. So like I didn't even go to the cameras. Like usually like people are like, oh, let's go to I literally ran to my team. Was like, yo, we actually did it. Like we did something that no one else has ever done, and like cheered with them. And then like literally tried to bring everyone into like the interview with me, but like obviously they're like, nah, you can't.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Is that your like your highest moment? Like I don't know, like biggest win, like most like excited you've ever felt?
Yeah, well, it's kind of even because the day before that's when I broke the Penn State long jump record too. So like it was literally like that was like my biggest moment, and then that. So like yeah, that was probably the biggest moment just because it sealed the deal like that we won a Big Ten title and we got the rings and all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
It was good. Gave the coaches a nice bonus.
So I have a question as a runner. What is competing like when you aren't like with your competitors? Like when you jump, you're by yourself. Like you're not on the track like head and head with them. You can see how fast they're going. Like how is that to try to like you understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah, definitely.
So what's that like? I feel like that I would have such a hard time like dealing with that. Even for like a 400, when I start out not on the same line, like I struggle because I'm not like with them.
Yo, that's a good perspective because I never thought about that. So my perspective with you guys, I'm like, how do you guys run in a big clump of group? I'm gonna answer your question though. I'm like, I would be bumping into them, but it's kind of like, especially with long jump, like you just feel like no one can be on that runway. So it's kind of like just you and the sand. So it sounds like you kind of like block everyone out, and some people get the clap. So it's kind of like all eyes are on you. So it's just like a different feeling. Yeah. Like I don't get nervous for jumps, but I definitely get nervous for like sprints because sprints you can mess up. But like jumps, I have one bad jump. I'm like, I got two more, and if I'm good, I got three more. But that 200, if you like shake and you like skip to the side, like bang bang, and you're done. That's it. So,
I never thought about it like that. Like on the track, you only have one shot, and like that's you, and you have to deal with a lot of other people. When you get on the runway, it's just you. Malik gets to go do whatever he needs to do. And you can take as much time as
for a minute.
And you get, I was gonna say, you get to take as much time as you want. You get to get ready. You can do your run throughs. They're like, all right, on the track, bang. You're like, what? I'm not even ready to go, dude. You're like, I just took my clothes off. You're like, I'm just got used to the cold wind. I'm not ready to go yet. Yeah, exactly. No, I guess they both. Different. It's just a whole other ball game. That is a cool perspective. Yeah. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that. Too much pressure.
I would not.
Too many eyes on you.
It's literally like everyone's literally looking at you, and especially like if they see you pop a big one and that board goes boom, and then like the crowd goes ooh, like everyone's like, it's like a gossip thing when you go back. Like you kind of like want to psych people out because people really don't know what you jumped until it comes on the board. So I usually like go back like, yeah, y'all see that? Like you saw that? Like blah blah. Or like because you want to get in their head like, oh dang, like he jumped one, like I need to do one now, and like gets them off their game. But yeah. But most of the time, like long jump people, they're pretty cool. Like even like the best of the best, like they're just like what'd you do? Like you jump because you realize that it's literally like nothing you can do. If that dude goes out there and jumps 30 feet, like it had nothing to do with your training or anything. You just better that day. So
Yeah, that's kind of nice that you have like multiple attempts, and I feel like that kind of relieves some of the pressure because like Alex said, like when you're on the track, like yo, you got like if you're doing a 5K, you got 12 laps and that's it. Once you cross the finish line, no second chances. Like you just have to kind of leave it all out there. But with the multiple attempts, you can kind of like if you mess up the first couple times, you can kind of get your head right, like recalibrate and get back at it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I love that. I literally love that about the jumps. And them 200s and those hundreds, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
Well, and that's like for us, if we get a bad start, it doesn't matter. You got 12 and a half laps, you'll fix it. If you guys have a bad start, there's so much pressure on every single second, and I can't even begin to imagine being in a sprint relay. Oh my God, my heart would explode. I'd have way too much pressure on me. To get the
worst is being the anchor. Like it's like the good and the bad because you're like, okay, like if they keep me in the lead, you have to keep that lead. But then it's like, dang, if they give it to me and I just mess up, it's all on me. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. But then with you guys, like you guys run in these groups, like you guys are like close, like super close.
Yeah.
Like how do you guys even like? I'm kind of like interviewing you guys.
No, I like it.
How do you like keep like your footing and like I've done like practice where I've like had to run like 500s, but I'm like I hate running them in the middle of people because it's like you slow down, you move, you slow down, you move that way. You like it's just so much going on.
Yeah, so like I guess so for you just have to run fast. That's it. We're out there so long. We have to have a little bit of strategy, and like we're not running. Like I mean, obviously you're not running. I'm not running 400 pace for 12 and a half laps.
Yeah.
Like you run a little slower, so you have that time, and you're out there for so long. You don't want to take the wind. So like we ran a race at Slippery Rock this year where the four of us were in a pack for the first like 6 or 8 laps. And it was the four of us together, and then there was probably like another 4 kids in front and behind. So we were completely protected from the wind. We weren't taking the wind at all. And like, so like we were,
smart.
We were just hanging. Like when you're in that pace, like I'm sure you've noticed this before when you're running, it's a lot easier just to stay with somebody than it is to like if they get ahead of you. So once you get in there, you just kind of click into autopilot. Like you have 8 people in front of you and 8 people behind you, and you can't move. You slow down, you're gonna get run over and stepped on, and that does not feel good. Those spikes are sharp. So you guys
come out like warriors.
You kind of just click into autopilot and just start running along with everyone else, and then like as the race progresses on, there's a point where you got to make a move and you got to start going and start laying down some faster times. But yeah, you just kind of cruise around for a little bit.
Yeah, cause you guys be coming out of those races. There's like marks on your legs from like people scratching you with their spikes, and I'm like, geez, I've never done that.
Dude, on our team, it's our teammates. Our teammates are the ones spiking us.
The teammates.
Your
own people.
We run so close and packed up. We're spiking each other on accident.
Yeah, I think
at least your own teammate.
Dude, not even teammates. They're our roommates.
Right, like my housemates are spiking me and shit. I'm like, fuck it.
It's like the bathroom. Like, what the?
No, I think for me, like I've just been doing it for so long, like running with a group of people, that it's like you kind of just like get into a rhythm with the guys you're around. Mm-hmm. And the one big thing for me is like if somebody like starts pulling away from you and you're like mid-race, you try to like sync up your legs with their legs so your steps are exactly the same, and it kind of like picks you back up to like sit on somebody. So then when your like steps are the same, like you can run really close to somebody as long as everybody's like kind of like in sync together. Wow. It's kind of like synchronized swimming, but on the track.
Like we do this at practice too. Like not like to the degree of a race where you're like packed in tight and flying, but like when we're running, we'll run normally like we'll run 4 and then or not necessarily, it doesn't matter the numbers, but like you'll run like people here and then you'll have like other guys where their legs are like in between the other guys, so you can kind of try to pack up a little bit. Especially, I mean, you know how windy it is in Erie. Sometimes you gotta, even on a regular run, you gotta clump up and try to fight the wind.
Yeah, you gotta fight the wind. The wind hurts your face and stuff.
Oh my god, dude, it's terrible. Great Lakes, not so great when it's time to run.
Yeah, exactly.
You good, John?
Yeah, hold on. You keep chatting.
All right.
You good?
Yeah, I'm just getting rid of some shit.
His phone must have filled up with space. It's one of our cameras.
This is so ass, man. We don't have the budget for a third camera yet, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta use that iPhone shit.
Dude,
No, it's all good.
when we started,
The studio looks amazing.
when we started, we ran on 2 iPhones. We ran 2 iPhones. We did everything on our Macs. We did everything through GarageBand. We were just balling on a budget. Shout out Apple.
100%.
Hey, listen, you guys came far.
Hey,
You got the studio now.
we tried.
Got some cameras.
Keep plugging away.
Yeah, we're trying, honestly.
The grind is real.
For real. And it's like crazy to think like how far we've come. Like we've been doing this for like a little over a year now.
Yeah.
But like we did take some time off, but like within a year, like to be from sitting in the library or like in a classroom at Zern, like recording on one like iPhone 7 and having one podcast mic, to having like multiple cameras, like lights, a whole entire like mic setup, headphones, like in a soundproof room, just like talking to all these like cool guests and shit. Like we've come a long way and we're showing no signs of slowing down. That's for sure.
I like it. I like it.
Just get like this is. I think this is a good little nod to that. We had a cancellation in our rain check guest is a U.S. Olympic trials athlete.
Yeah. That's how you know.
Just a backup plan. Quick, just press send. I'm like, hey, you come on tonight? You're like, sure, man, I'd love to. I was like, oh God, I can't believe this is gonna work.
Why not? Listen, listen. When I come home, I chill. If you weren't talking to me, I'll be watching 7 Deadly Sins.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, when you're back in the area, where's your favorite place to eat? There's one right answer. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
My favorite place to eat?
Yeah. Just like not. It doesn't have to be a fancy place. Just like, all right, just want to grab a quick bite, like easy.
Oh, so if my family's like, hey, like, where are we going? They're probably taking me to Fridays. I love Fridays.
Fridays? All right.
So, yeah. I love me some Fridays. Five Guys if it wasn't like $30 for a burger. So, but yeah, that's basically it. Or listen, Sarah's in the summertime.
Dude, no.
This guy, I knew he was gonna say it.
No, dude, no. All right. I'm gonna give you my spiel on Sarah's. I give it to everybody. Sarah's is good. I will give you that. But there is way too much like hype and persona around that place. Like they're like, I don't know. Erie people just love it so much, and like people hear so much about it. And they're like, oh my God, I need to go. And then they go there, and it's like it's hot dogs and ice cream. You're like how good? Yeah. No, like I think people build it up so much that like the first time I ever had it, I was like.
Yeah, you're like, what?
You're like, dude, you're like, yeah.
I could have went my whole life without having that.
You're like, dude, I can get ice cream and hot dogs from literally anywhere in the country, and they're the same thing. The same thing.
I think like 90% of it is the location. It's in a good location.
Oh my God,
like
it's in a fire location.
Yeah, the location.
They're not messing around, but yeah, honestly.
And it helped that my friend used to work there, and I used to get kind of like a lot of my stuff for free. So I just be like, oh, I'm going to the beach, bro. Like, I'm coming through. Like, all right, kid, come in, get some of the food and stuff.
What does kind of a lot of my stuff for free mean? You said, I got kind of like a lot of my stuff for free. That means you got all your stuff for free.
Trying to be generous. I got all of it for free.
He's like, don't worry, he definitely doesn't work there anymore, so it doesn't matter. You can... And you're not saying his name. He's good.
He definitely has a degree, so he'll never be working at Sarah's ever again. He's actually going to like med school, so.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so yeah, he would definitely give me all of my food, all of my friends. It was literally just like pull up with some girls to the beach and like I got free food for us. Like it's just like that.
Hey, you gotta show the homies some love. It's worth it.
Always gotta show the homies some love.
So, bro, you're about to get an invoice from your agent. Sarah's gonna send you
Yeah,
an invoice for all the food you ate.
They're like, oh, from the time Malik was in high school, we were actually down a lot of money then, and now it's starting to make sense. They're like, if we cross-reference this to when Malik got his driver's license and when the year he was at Barron, they're like, those are all the years we lost money. And we can, it's actually, if we check security camera, every time he came were the nights we lost a lot of money.
I got a lot of money. Like I was coming back and forth. Like I'm going to the beach. Let me get some food. Like I'm leaving the beach. Let me go get some more food and come home.
Good. This sounds like you had an operation set up.
They always gotta have a good operation, especially with the friends. Just text one good text.
100%. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
How long have we been at it?
Wow, like an hour and like 10, pretty much.
Damn. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's 100. Yep, really does. It doesn't even feel like we've been talking for that long, but
I knew it's been a while, but I didn't know how long.
yeah, for real.
My phone is blowing up right now.
They're like, dude,
everybody knows you're on the
they're
podcast.
like, dude, we heard you're on the podcast.
I did tell a couple of people, I'm like, don't call me, because people always call me. So like, I had to put the phone or the Mac on Do Not Disturb, the phone on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, we like I said, we used to record on our phones, and there would be episodes where we would just be trying to record, and like our moms would call us, and they're like, "Oh, how's your homework going?" You're like, "Mom, I'm recording a podcast. Call me back in like half an hour."
Exactly.
Bro,
luckily my dad didn't call, because you know the favorites, they get through to Do Not Disturb, so it would have been like all over the place.
Oh my god. I just know the one time my mom called me when my phone was recording, and we didn't realize that it ended the video.
Oh my god, yeah.
So like we like kept going, and then we go like look back at it, and it was like we were talking for like 30 minutes, and only like 6.5 minutes got recorded, and we were like, damn it. But
I would be so hurt.
Dude, there's been so many times we've had to like one of the cameras stopped working, or like the phone died, and we just had to like mix and cut up audio and video and just try to get something out because like something went wrong. But
more times than not.
Yeah, honestly, that's happened like probably 90% of the time. We rarely get an episode where it's just like everything goes smoothly.
This one's going good though.
Yeah, I can't complain. This one's alright.
There we go. Good luck, Sean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What all right, one last thing we can hit on that I know a lot of our guests are on, and I don't know if you are. Do you do any like visualization, manifestation, any kind of meditation, anything like that?
So before meets, so say if I'm doing like 100, I'll go to the track and I just kind of like just walk the 100, visualize like what it look like me winning, or like even like or a long jump, I'll go like just walk down, get like a little flat off the board, and like, all right, that's cool. So like kind of like that, get a prayer in,
Yeah.
Get good health and stuff, and then hey, I'm on my way.
Nice.
So
usually
just pray for health.
Nice. What's a pre-jump like night like for us, like distance runners famous, they go eat pasta, they drink a bunch of water, they go to bed, they eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you have to do anything special for like when you do sprints or jumps, or is there anything that you do, any pre-night rituals or anything?
Nah, I stay away from the carbs. Basically just obviously not like junk food. I'm not eating chips at night. Just kind of like, make sure I get a hearty meal and like a good breakfast. Nice. Usually I like before meets, I usually get like French toast and like sausage. That's like my go-to. And like, I usually, every time I have that combination, I do pretty well. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. John sleeps in his race top. That's it. That's his.
Hey, listen. People do that.
He does. He got me onto it. We were roommates freshman year on all our away trips, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of nice to wake up in the morning and be ready to go. I was like, I think I'm gonna start doing it.
Dude, that was 90% of why I did it. Like, I just like sleep in my uniform because we'd have to get up like 7 o'clock to like get on the bus or whatnot. I'm just like, I want to sleep. Like, if the bus leaves at 7, I'm getting up at 6:58, grabbing my stuff, and I'm on the bus, dude. Like, it was just like a time thing. But after so long, like, I just kind of started just doing it. Still do it. But yeah.
I think I don't even put on my jersey until I'm like about to get on to the track. Like I literally got in trouble because it's like my routine. Like I'll do the whole warm up, and then like when I'm out there, I'll take off my shirt. I got almost cussed out by this official because it was like on TV. Didn't even know. He was like, "You're naked. What are you doing? Kids are watching it." I'm like, "It's my shirt, bro. I just got my shirt off. Like I'm putting one back on." So
that's how I was this year during COVID. I would never because we wouldn't spend the night in a hotel, so I would just we wouldn't race till stupid late. So I wouldn't put my stuff on because when I was on the bus, I didn't want to be super uncomfortable. So I would just like throw it in my bag, and it'd be like the last second. I'm like trying to get my top off, get ready to race, and then I got to put mine on. And the one day, one of our teammates and roommates, we were actually at Barron. We were about to get on the track, and the dude didn't have any of his uniform on.
What?
So we all had to. He had to go. Luckily, one of our roommates was there, and he wasn't running that event, so he threw one on. But it was a nightmare. You good?
Yep. Just because the cameras suck ass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time. We appreciate that. This was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good time.
Malik, you got any shout outs?
Yeah,
any brands, anyone, any brands you want to be like, hey, look at me? Shout out your agent. Shout out the runs.
Shout out. I'm not shouting out any brand because they ain't shouting me out yet, but I'll shout out my agent, Lamine Dragage. I'll shout out my coach, Coach Powell, my dad, my mom, sisters, all of them, step parents, all of them, and Erie PA, of course.
Hell yeah.
And Penn State and Prep.
Nice.
Those are my go-tos.
Good stuff.
And thanks for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely.
I'll do it again if you need me to.
Deal.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to get like a reunion episode. We're gonna try to get all our guests back on and just catch up with them.
In like a year, we'll get everyone back. And so I've asked almost every guest where they'll be in a year. So in a year, I'm gonna get them all on, and they'll tell us where they're at.
Ooh,
We'll put them side by side, and so we'll have world team member Malik here in a year, saying what's up.
Hey, I like it.
Has a nice ring to it.
It does ring a bell.
Alrighty, cool.
All right,
real,
buddy.
dude, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
When you're back in town,
Hey, no problem.
we'll have to snag some Fridays.
Listen, let's do it. We're just not going to Sarah's. We're not going to Sarah's.
All right, we can go to Sarah. We can go to Sarah's.
Only if your boy's working at Sarah's.
Yeah, only if it was all right.
He's not there no more.
If it was free, then Sarah's would be the place to be.
That's what I said. I was like, we can't go anymore. It's not free. I'm not trying to pay money. It never did, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right, buddy. Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
All right.
All right, peace.
Nice talking to you guys too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. That was episode 18. We had Malik Moffett on. That was a good time. He was a dude. He was laughing so much in that episode.
We were cracking him up.
That was fun. That was a good episode. It was cool to get an athlete of that high caliber on and just kind of hear what he was about. And he's inspired us to now. We're looking for an agent now. So if you're an agent and you know of any good ones, we can't offer you any money, but
we can get you on the podcast.
We just need you to take care of
everything.
Scheduling, finding guests, editing.
Grocery shopping would be cool.
We do need some help with grocery shopping, especially when we quarantine for the beginning of school. So it's a big task, but you get to be part of it.
We'll pay you not well.
Or at all.
All right, guys. Go ahead, share. That's the easiest way to show us some love. Or you can send us money or an agent. But, share. Tell your friends to listen in. That's all we got for you.
Peace.
See you next week. Peace.